Libra, dear heart, do you feel something shifting in your life like the winds of destiny brushing gently against your skin? Because I'm here to tell you, you are about to become the wealthiest person in your family. Not just in terms of money, but in influence, wisdom, and spiritual leadership. And soon, everyone will see it. This isn't just a forecast. This is a sacred moment in time. And this video on Zodiac Whisper Tarot is more than a horoscope reading. It's a divine appointment, a cosmic map written in light, custom made for you, Libra. You didn't click this by accident. Your spirit led you here because you're standing at the edge of a transformation so profound that even your ancestors are watching in awe. Libra, your time as the peacemaker, the background support, the quiet giver, it's over. Now, you rise. What you're stepping into is not a small opportunity, it's a golden threshold. You are not just balancing energies anymore. You are leading generations forward. And the universe is backing every step you take. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you were born to break the patterns that your parents, and their parents, could never break? Have you ever felt the weight of responsibility without a clear reward, like you were carrying something sacred that no one could see? Well, the invisible is about to become undeniable. Because Libra, the energy around you right now is magnetic. It's vibrant. It's precise. And it's finally aligning with the quiet brilliance you've been carrying all along. You are the chosen one in your bloodline, not because you fought for it, but because your soul vibrates at the frequency of divine restoration. Not when you're ready. Now. And if your heart is whispering yes, if something within you knows these words are for you, then write it in the comments below. I was born to lead my family into wealth and light. Say it boldly. This small action will anchor the frequency in your physical world. Let me take just a moment to say how deeply grateful I am for your presence here. Every like, every comment, and every new subscriber brings you closer to this soul family we are building together at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support allows us to keep delivering these transformative messages, and believe me when I say, Libra, you will want to stay with me until the very last second of this video. Because what the universe is revealing today is nothing short of extraordinary. So now, Libra, me loyal listener, what brought you here today? What energy pulled you to this exact moment? Don't scroll away. Don't pause. Don't minimize this tab. Stay with me. Because this isn't just a message. This is the beginning of your financial revolution, and your family will remember you for it. There are moments in life when something shifts, not loud, not sudden, but unmistakably real. For Libra, this is one of those moments. It's the subtle turning of a spiritual compass that tells you, you're not just balancing anymore. You're being elevated. Not by force, but by the quiet consistency of your inner light. For so long, you've held space for others, maintained the peace, kept things together without asking for recognition. But now, the same energy you've invested in silence is being returned to you multiplied. In astrology, we often speak about planetary alignments as mirrors to our soul evolution. Right now, the dance between Venus and Saturn is shaping a new structure in your chart, a structure that says you're ready to lead, not from ego, but from example. Venus, your planetary ally, whispers beauty, harmony, and value into every room you walk into. Saturn, the great teacher, asks, can you build something that lasts? And the answer is yes. Because you're not stepping into leadership with pride, but with preparation. This isn't sudden fame. It's earned grace. Think of yourself as the artist who paints not with color, but with presence. Every decision, every act of restraint, every kind word spoken when you could have stayed silent, these were brushstrokes. You have created a path that others will now walk, not because you told them to, but because they see what's possible through you. Leadership, in its highest form, is quiet influence. And Libra, that's exactly where you are now. This moment also reflects a core principle of the law of attraction: what you sow in energy returns in form. While others may have sought success through hustle and noise, you moved through the world with inner alignment. That frequency, though invisible, has been broadcasting all along. And now the universe is responding, because your soul's signal is too clear to ignore. You're not chasing anything anymore. It's all coming to you. Opportunities, resources, even admiration, they flow toward those who've mastered their own stillness. This journey reminds me of a gentle truth I've come to embrace over years of spiritual practice and life experience. Sometimes, we are asked to walk in faith long before we ever see proof. But just because you don't see the fruit immediately doesn't mean the seed wasn't planted. You, Libra, have planted deep. You've loved without reward, given without agenda, waited without resentment. That is spiritual maturity. And that is exactly what heaven blesses in time. You might not call it a miracle, but what's happening now in your life carries the fingerprints of divine timing. There are stories, real stories of everyday people who held on to hope when nothing made sense, and just when they thought it was too late, their whole life transformed. Sometimes it's not about shouting a prayer, but about living like one. You've done that. You've lived your faith through patience, through integrity, through balance, and now, it's your season of elevation. So I say this with deep sincerity: don't shrink when the spotlight finds you. You're not stealing anything. You're receiving what was always meant for you. The very same hands that once held burdens are now open to abundance. Let them be. Let them rise. Let others watch and wonder how you did it and smile, knowing that you didn't just rise. You were raised. And now it's your time to lead with grace. There's something sacred about what happens inside you before anything ever shifts outside you. And Libra, this is exactly where your power has been growing quietly, steadily, beneath the surface of appearances. You've lived a life of balance, of grace under pressure, of showing up with peace even when your own world felt anything but peaceful. And while that may have gone unnoticed to others, it hasn't gone unnoticed to the universe. In fact, the wealth that is about to arrive in your physical life is simply a reflection of the wealth that has already been cultivated in your soul. Su kan bang noi tom kich hot fuck lok nguai tom. Internal harmony generates external blessings. This principle isn't just spiritual poetry, it's energetic law. The moments you chose patience over pride, understanding over reaction, kindness over winning, those were not losses. Those were spiritual investments. And now, Libra, you're entering the harvest season of that inner discipline. What looked like silence was spiritual strength. What felt like sacrifice was soul training. And what seemed like delay was divine preparation. You've done something most people can't sustain. You've remained emotionally generous even when life didn't immediately reward it. That takes more power than chasing success or proving worth. It means your core is strong. It means you've built roots. And now, like a golden rice field in its final stage, your abundance is not loud, it's heavy. Tangible. Ready to be received. In the world of self-help and energy healing, we often speak of the receiving wound. It's when someone has spent so long giving, holding space, keeping things in order, that they don't know how to open their hands and say, I deserve this now. Libra, you are not just allowed to receive, you are being called to. Your inner light has matured. You've earned this expansion, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Tarot confirms this beautifully. The Empress reminds us of sacred fertility not just in the womb, but in ideas, influence, beauty, and value. You don't have to push. You attract. And the star appears when someone has survived a long night of the soul and is now illuminated, not from without but from within. You are not stepping into success. You are radiating it. From a healing perspective, this is your moment to break an unconscious contract you've held with modesty or self-containment. You were never meant to be invisible. Your balance was not a life sentence. It was an initiation. You were trained by the universe to lead with heart-centered integrity, and now that energy is so elevated, so pure, that it begins to transform the external. This is when people begin to ask, what changed? And the answer is simple, you did. On the inside. And now the outside must follow. It's much like the stories we hear of people who quietly prayed for years, kept their faith during the storm, stayed generous even when exhausted. And then one day, a door opened. Not because they forced it, but because their vibration aligned with it. That's what's happening for you now. So as you continue on this path, let your receiving be just as sacred as your giving once was. Let your joy be just as deep as your patience once was. Let your wealth be just as generous as your peace always was. You've reached the point where it's no longer about what you must do, only about what you are now ready to allow. It's easy to overlook the quiet ones. The ones who choose grace over drama, softness over strategy, harmony over ego. And yet, Libra, this is exactly what has made your value so extraordinary. For years, you've cultivated refinement not as a performance, but as a way of being. You've walked into rooms and chosen presence over dominance, depth over noise. And now, as Venus, your ruling planet, forms a rare and expansive alignment with Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, something powerful is happening behind the scenes of your life. Your essence is no longer hidden. It's being amplified, dignified, and elevated on a cosmic scale. This astrological event is more than a fleeting moment. Venus represents love, beauty, relationships, and personal values, everything that defines your unique frequency. Jupiter, on the other hand, is the great magnifier. It doesn't just bring more, it brings meaning, expansion, and long overdue recognition. When these two celestial forces align in your chart, everything that once felt understated within you becomes undeniable in the eyes of the world. You're not just becoming wealthier in the material sense. You're becoming wealthier in worth, and the world is finally catching up to what you've known deep down all along. In numerology, the number 6 represents balance, unconditional love, harmony, and financial flow grounded in spiritual alignment. This number resonates deeply with your soul's natural inclination toward peace and beauty. And right now, it's acting as a sacred code, unlocking opportunities that are tailor-made for who you truly are, not who the world expected you to be. Think about that for a moment. You're not succeeding because you've changed to fit a mold, but because the world is finally shifting to make space for your authenticity. Many of you may have been told that being too nice or too fair would hold you back. Maybe you were taught to harden up or to hide your softness to survive. But what if I told you that your kindness has always been your currency? That the calm in your voice, the beauty in your thoughts, the fairness in your decisions, these were all investments, waiting for a cosmic return. And now, that return is no longer theoretical. It's beginning to take shape in real, tangible ways. Your energy is becoming so aligned with truth that people around you will begin to respond even if they don't know why. They'll sense it in your glow, in your words, in your walk. You'll walk into spaces, and people will instinctively trust you. They'll be drawn not just to your looks or your intellect, but to something much deeper: your integrity, your vibration, your quiet power. You've become what the world didn't know it needed, an example of success rooted in elegance, not ego. This is your season of revealed value. And with that, comes the responsibility to keep walking in grace, even as rewards multiply. Don't shrink. Don't apologize. And don't second-guess the glow others are only now beginning to see. Let it shine fully. Let it illuminate every space you touch. There's no need to prove or perform. Your worth is no longer up for debate. It is known. It is honored. And it is finally time to live as if that truth was never in question. Because for the universe, it never was. Not everyone is chosen to break a cycle. But Libra, you are. And this part of your journey is not just about wealth or success, it's about rewriting the energetic blueprint your family has carried for generations. When you think about the patterns you've seen growing up, these silent fears around money, the limiting beliefs about not being good enough, or the inherited pressure to stay small, you may begin to recognize that you've always felt a subtle resistance to those patterns. That quiet discomfort wasn't rebellion, it was recognition. You were never meant to repeat what came before. You were born to transform it. In ancestral healing, we often say that pain travels through bloodlines until someone is ready to feel it, hold it, and release it. That someone is usually the one who's more emotionally aware, spiritually attuned, and willing to carry what others have denied. In your case, Libra, that emotional sensitivity that some once saw as a weakness is actually the very gift that now allows you to lead your lineage into a new era. You don't need to confront or correct your past, you only need to live differently. Your life becomes the testimony. You are the first brick removed from the old wall, the one that made it possible for a door to finally exist. And the beauty is, you didn't have to shatter the structure with rage or resistance. You simply stepped out of it with grace. And in doing so, you gave permission energetically and spiritually for those after you to follow. From a cosmic perspective, the timing of this shift is no accident. The planetary transits you've been under are calling forth those who are ready to reprogram their beliefs, especially around abundance and self-worth. For Libra, this is hitting the deepest part of your soul because you've always longed to bring harmony to the spaces around you. Now, you're being asked to bring harmony to your own foundation. To ask yourself, what do I truly believe I deserve? What do I want to leave behind, not just in possessions, but in perspective? There's a powerful truth found in divine wisdom that says a good person leaves a legacy for their children's children. But that legacy isn't only financial, it's emotional. It's spiritual. It's energetic. And you, Libra, are in the exact position to ensure that the next generation does not inherit fear disguised as humility, or survival disguised as tradition. You are making wealth a possibility not just in your bank account, but in your bloodline. Sometimes breaking cycles doesn't look like grand gestures, it looks like quiet decisions. Choosing generosity instead of guilt. Choosing investment instead of impulsive spending. Choosing trust in divine timing rather than fear of lack. It looks like building stability not just for yourself, but for those who come after you, even if they never fully know what it took for you to get here. This is your moment to rewrite the script. I invite you to pause and reflect on something you were once told about money or success by someone in your family. Write it down. Then, right beside it, write the belief you want your children or your future generations to carry instead. You don't have to pass on what was passed down. You get to choose again. And by doing so, you are becoming the living proof that a new future is not only possible, it's already happening through you. So keep walking forward, Libra. Not just for you, but for the ones who came before and the many more who will come after. You are the bridge. You are the breakthrough. And your legacy starts now. Most people believe that abundance is something you have to chase. They think you need to hustle harder, move faster, sacrifice rest, and work until you're empty just to earn the right to feel secure. But Libra, your journey has never followed the traditional rhythm. Yours has always been about alignment, about tuning your inner world so powerfully that the outer world begins to respond. And right now, that alignment is starting to speak. Loudly. Clearly. Abundantly. The money, the opportunities, the right conversations, they are not far from you. In fact, they are moving in your direction, not because you're demanding more, but because you're finally embodying the truth that you deserve more. In the law of attraction, it's often misunderstood that merely thinking or visualizing abundance is enough. But what really unlocks the flow is consistency, small, intentional choices made every single day that reinforce the belief that you are safe, provided for, and worthy. This is not about magical thinking. It's about energetic congruence. When your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors align with your inner worth, the universe begins to reflect that worth in tangible form. One of the most practical ways to begin anchoring this energy is through the body. Stress, especially adrenal fatigue, can signal to your system that it's unsafe to receive. And when the body is in survival mode, it subconsciously blocks flow. That's why caring for your nervous system isn't just a wellness habit, it's a wealth practice. Increasing your intake of magnesium and vitamin B6, prioritizing sleep, hydrating well, and grounding your energy through breathwork or walks in nature can all help bring your body back into receptivity. You're not just healing your body, you're preparing the temple that abundance wants to enter. Then there's the question of how you handle the energy of money itself. Creating a simple, soulful system like dividing your income into envelopes labeled spend, invest, and give sends a signal to the universe that you're not afraid to circulate wealth. It tells life that you trust yourself as a steward, not just a survivor. And with that trust, more is allowed to flow. Another powerful tool is gratitude journaling. Each night, asking yourself, what did I receive today? And writing it down, even the smallest things, rewires your brain to scan for abundance instead of lack. Over time, your perception shifts. You stop waiting for miracles to appear, and start realizing they've been happening all along. In tarot, This phase of your life is beautifully symbolized by the magician. He doesn't beg for results, she creates them. With one hand pointing to the heavens and the other to the earth, he reminds us that manifestation isn't mystical, it's mechanical. It's the art of taking a spiritual concept and giving it structure. He works with what he has, his tools, his presence, his intention, and from there, possibilities unfold. You don't need to prove anything, Libra. You only need to walk in what you already know. With each quiet, centered step you take, whether it's sending an invoice, following up on an idea, saying no to something out of alignment, you are magnetizing the right energy. Picture your actions like footsteps through a valley long prepared for rainfall. As you move, abundance trickles in, not in chaos, not in flood, but in a steady, gentle flow that nourishes everything you've been building. You're not chasing anymore. You're receiving. And that, in itself, is a revolution. If you've made it here with me, Libra, then I want you to pause for a moment, not to look back in regret, but to look inward, with reverence. Because what you've just witnessed isn't simply a reading, a forecast, or some beautiful collection of words. It's a mirror. A gentle, divine reflection of what has always lived inside you, waiting for the right time to rise. And now, that time is here. You are no longer the one who is overlooked, underestimated, or silenced in your softness. You are the one who creates the path with quiet power and radiant presence. You are the heart of your family's future. The peacekeeper who becomes the peacemaker. The one who used to carry the weight of scarcity and now pours wealth, emotional, spiritual, and material, into every space you enter. You are rewriting what it means to be successful, not by proving anything, but by becoming everything you were always meant to be. But this transformation doesn't stop with a message, it begins with your movement. So I invite you to ask yourself, what if everything you need is already within you? What if the next version of your life is only waiting for you to claim it, to align with it, to walk into it without apology? Can you allow yourself to receive without guilt? Can you trust that your wealthy are wisdom, your worth isn't accidental, but ancestral? The time for shrinking has passed. The world doesn't need another version of who you were. It needs the bold, magnetic, clear version of you that knows, I am the one who breaks cycles. I am the one who brings healing. I am the one who changes everything just by being who I am. And so now, let this be more than inspiration. Let this become activation. What is one step you can take today that aligns with the wealth you're stepping into? What can you shift, whether in thought, in habit, or in how you speak to yourself, that confirms, I am already becoming the leader I was born to be? Leave me a comment below, not just to engage, but to declare something sacred over your life. Write these words, I am ready to become the light of abundance for my entire lineage. Let it echo into your field. Let it land in your heart. And let it be a message that future generations one day look back on with gratitude. If this video resonated with you, if it stirred something ancient and powerful inside you, I invite you to like, subscribe, and join our growing soul family here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Every gesture of support brings us closer in collective purpose and ensures that these sacred reminders keep reaching those who need them most. And maybe there's someone in your family who needs to hear this today. Someone who still believes they must struggle to be worthy. Share this with them, not as pressure, but as possibility. A quiet nudge that they, too, can rewrite the story. Thank you, from the deepest part of my heart, for your presence. You didn't just watch this video, you showed up for yourself. And in doing so, you've already begun walking a path that will change not just your life, but the legacy you leave behind. This is your moment, Libra. Take it with both hands and walk forward like the leader you already are.